Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja. Now spring is here, the sun is out and it's a perfect day to demonstrate how to plant these pleached trees. Now pleached trees differ to regular container trees in that they've been trained on a frame. And the reason why that makes them slightly tricky to plant is that it's all about spacing, proportion and support. So today's guide is going to be how to plant these in a raised bed or in the ground and make sure that they look pristine. So come on, let's get cracking. So the example I'm using today is this pleached Alista. And pleached trees are brilliant if you've got small spaces but you need some privacy. And I often use them in my designs for just that, to break up an eye line without taking up a huge amount of space. Now they're relatively slow growing, and other than pruning them once or twice a year to keep them in the shape of the frame, they don't really require a huge amount of maintenance, so they're great for small gardens. Now in this example of the hyper contemporary garden, I'm going to use them to break up some of the vista behind the garden to increase privacy and also give year-round interest because they're evergreen. So what I need to do firstly is mark out the spaces of where they're going to be planted, making sure that they're equidistant to each other. So you're going to need a tape measure, and that's the first thing to do. So with this example, I know that the bed is 5 metres wide and I've got 5 pleached trees, each of 1 metre in width, and I need to space them equidistantly across the back of the bed to start with. Another top tip when you're using formal trees or topiary is to use the rule of odds, and what that means is you really want to be using 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. because it just gives a much better design view. If you're going to go for 2s, 4s and 6s, it can sometimes expose the irregularities of your garden, because unless your garden is perfectly even, like the 2s, the 4s, the 6s, it can kind of draw your eye into those odd spaces that don't quite match up. So a good rule of thumb is go odds and you can't be too far wrong. So that's 1 down, 4 to go. And I've not completely firmed them in yet. What I'm going to do is get them all in, stand back, have a look at the eye line, make any adjustments, and then compress the soil to really commit them to the ground. So I've got the 5 pleached trees in now, and I've checked and they're all level and symmetrical. Now the next thing you're going to have to do, especially with pleached trees, is to then stake and support them. So what I'm going to show you now is by using 4 of these stakes, I'm going to drive them into the bed up to a height of about here, and then I'm going to create a brace using some of this 2x1 behind the pleached trees that I can then tie it to. And what that will do is it will give me a supportive frame, so no matter whether the wind is blowing against them or behind them, it will keep them level. Now I'll probably need to leave that in for maybe 2 to 3 years until these are fully rooted, established and firm. You could probably leave it in forever, and it depends on how neat you are putting it in. By using the rubber tree ties, you make sure that the ties don't cut into the trunk or any of the stems of the tree. So using rubber ties is a must. The trees are now in and the supports have been finished, and the last thing that I need to do is give them a really good watering. And even if it's been raining or they feel damp, it's really important when you're planting new trees and shrubs to give them a thorough watering, because you've literally taken them out of the pot and you're putting them somewhere else under stress. So give them a water, and it will just help reduce the stress on the plant and ensure higher chances of success. So the trees are now in. I built a frame to support them and I've tied them using tree ties. Double check that they're all level, and I think they look brilliant. So I think it's time for me and Barry, yes you, to go in and have a nice cup of tea and maybe a little biscuit. I've been Garden Ninja. If you like this video, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel? Plenty more garden design, how to, and tips. Walk inside for a brew. Happy gardening.